Hey guys, here we go into a video on Canelo Alvarez's offense against Billy Joe Saunders, or rather Southpaws in general, and how this is going to affect Billy Joe Saunders. And we're going to be taking a look at it because we're going to be looking to design some drills that Billy Joe Saunders can use, or you guys at home can use, to practice fighting a fighter who may use similar tactics. So, the first one, when Daniel Jacobs is going to be in a southpaw stance, and he's going to be meeting on the line here in position one, okay, which means his left shoulder is going to be a little closer to the line here, and he's going to be a little bit more open. He's going to have a little bit more weight on the front foot, and that's going to cause Canelo to take a large step out here to get kind of lead foot dominance, okay? So he's going to be trying to get to the outside with this step of Daniel Jacobs' lead foot and lead shoulder so that he can get in a position where he can rotate his weight and then rotate his shoulder into his opponent's face by putting himself into position one. As you can see, he can cover so much distance even just from here as he goes to set down his heel, and then once he gets his head into this position and then he transfers his weight and brings his shoulder forward, he's cut off an amazing amount of ring space with this little movement, right? And this is how he attacks the position one, is getting his foot to the outside of his opponent's foot to land a right hand. And he can land this right hand to the head or to the body. Now, another tactic that Canelo likes to use is going to be stepping to the inside of his opponent's foot. Okay, so now notice Jacobs is in a little more defensive of a position. His weight is going to be a little bit more centered toward the middle of his line or the back of his line here. And Canelo's going to try to enter the line here instead of taking lead foot dominance here and getting himself into position one by throwing a right hand. He's going to look to take a step here on the inside. And that's going to be because Daniel Jacobs is on the back foot. So he's going to be looking usually from this position here to attack the body and then to the head with the hook as he gets closer, right, to his opponent's target, right? Because with Danny Jacobs on the back foot, that means that the hook is going to be harder to land if Canelo Alvarez's foot is all the way out here and he normally takes lead foot dominance. So he's going to be looking to use this right hand here to land the body shot and take this step to the inside to kind of clear the space so he can come back with the hook to the head. Now, again, when you're on the front foot, Canelo's attacking you on the outside of your lead foot. When you're on the back foot and your head is more towards this stump, he's looking to take this step here. We're going to take a couple looks at a few more clips here. Which one is this one? That's the same one. Okay, here we go. As he looks to take a step to the inside here, again, as Danny Jacobs is on the back half of his line, notice his head position here. Canelo likes to feint with that lead hand. One quick feint, and then shoot this body shot. Now, I want to point out also, Danny Jacobs is technically doing the right thing. A lot of fighters, when someone gets lead foot dominance on them, usually they try to spin out this way for some reason. Zab Judah had that problem. It was a terrible, terrible mistake. He wound up getting really beat up by Miguel Cotto, who just attacked him to the body here. So Danny Jacobs is actually doing the right thing, and he's bringing his weight to that back foot, and then he's pendulum stepping off of the line here to get away. So he's doing everything correctly, except for the fact that in this position, Canelo is giving up lead foot dominance by putting himself into a position where he's on the line, but he's in the inferior position, right? Now, what he's hoping is that you're going to pendulum step and move away so that he can land this punch as you try to escape. But what he doesn't realize is that when he steps to the inside, he's giving away the positional advantage. And this is where where Billy Joe Saunders should actually probably fight Canelo. Okay, if Canelo's taking a step on the inside, Billy Joe Saunders is actually a pretty big dude. So if he's on the inside here, when Canelo looks to feint here, and Daniel Jacobs is bringing his weight to the back, instead of pendulum stepping off of the line, he should bring that weight back into his opponent, okay? So let me go ahead and show you what I mean. Ooh. So it's going to look like, well, I'll just do it orthodox. It's mirrored. So when he moves to the back foot and Canelo is here, right? He's looking to pendulum step to clear that space. Nothing wrong with that. When your opponent has lead foot dominance on you, you don't want to be taking this step here and trying to peel out. You want to follow your weight the easiest way that you can. But what happens is Danny Jacobs winds up being on the inside here. Now, Canelo winds up being on the inside here on Danny Jacobs as Danny Jacobs is here. And Canelo tries to take that position. so that he can land the body shot and land the head shot on a farther away target. Again, if Canelo's foot is on the outside, that means Canelo's head is all the way over there too. By stepping on the inside, he's finding a way to shortcut that position and find a little easier of a way to land the right hook or the left hook upstairs against a southpaw opponent who may be running or trying to get away. I don't want to say running, but not looking to engage. So when Canelo comes in with that easy feint, right, as he shoots that one shot, takes the lead foot dominance, and tries to shoot that into a pendulum right hand, or it'll look like this. That'll look, and he shoots that shot to the body, so he comes to the shot with the head. This is where Billy Joe Saunders should actually be fighting Canelo. Instead of giving this position away, because this is a position that Billy Joe Saunders is going to work really hard for later in the fight. If Canelo's going to give it to him, right, Billy Joe Saunders can just be here in his active guard, control, 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 and then this is the position that when Billy Joe Saunders gets here, that Canelo Alvarez is going to look to attack him and land that body shot, right, so that he can then land the hook to the head. But if Billy Joe Saunders, instead of trying to escape from this position here, he looks to counter and move back into the line, he can actually find an opportunity to land more punches than Canelo. As also Canelo, as you see in these clips, he looks for the most part to be landing one punch at a time, not really throwing combinations. So Billy Joe Saunders will have a really easy opportunity just by maintaining his active guard here and defending this position to bait Canelo into his line so he can land combinations as Canelo lands in, or as Canelo comes in. Right? So the feint comes when when Billy Joe Saunders is on the back foot, and then when that body shot comes, man, sometimes you might have to eat one. You never want to, right? But it would be a great opportunity for Billy Joe Saunders to counter him here and move his head to the front foot and then back to the back foot with the hook and then peel, right? A much better option than just giving away that lead foot dominance that Canelo is so keen on taking. Now, we're going to take a look at a couple more clips here. Here again, Canelo shooting his jab against Daniel Jacobs, who's on the front foot, right? But he's not really on the front foot. He hasn't really crossed Canelo's line. He's not really in a dominant position. He's still looking to get his head to the outside of Canelo's head, which will be the signal for him to transfer and be in position one and have his weight on the front foot. So he still hasn't established that, and Canelo doesn't want him to. So he's shooting the jab, trying to push him back to the back half of his line, and now Danny Jacobs tries to get to the front foot again, so he throws up this big, leaping left hand so that he can throw the right hand after. But look at how kind of, I don't want to say slow, right? But it's not a really quick combination. It's not really succinct. And one thing I want to point out is that the lead hand of Canelo is just a setup punch, right? By the time he winds up bringing his shoulder forward and throwing his right hand, he has no guard here. He has no defense. And when he throws this shot and he ends his punch, he still has no defense, not on the left side or the right side. Because Canelo, using this strategy of stepping with these punches, is committing so much of his body weight and his body mechanics that he doesn't have the technique to sustain controlling the line at the same time, because he's putting so much effort into all of the power, right? Now, Canelo may surprise us and may be able to do this, but in these examples, Canelo's really looking to load up and throw all his weight into all these punches. We'll even take a look at this one here as he feints with the lead hand as he takes that step to the outside. And then again, Danny Jacobs, or Canelo, again, no defense over here. He gets his head to the outside. But what Billy Joe Saunders needs to do from this position, if he can establish his weight on the front foot with his active guard, and Canelo likes to try to take lead foot dominance, this is the position that Billy Joe Saunders is going to want to really be using his right hook and transfer his weight as Canelo throws this shot. Instead of trying to control the line now, if he had control of the line with the right hand before, he could be throwing a hook instead. Okay? So what do I mean by that? When Danny Jacobs is going back foot, front foot, and he gets here, he's not controlling the line with his right hand. You can see him try to control the line with his left hand. So what do I mean? Again, it's going to be mirrored, so I'm going to stay in my standard position. So your active guard, you're looking, if you're not using it to layer your punches, right? Slip, slip, control, 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 crop, right? Throwing punches. If you're not looking to use your active guard to set up attacks, it's going to be controlling the line as well, okay? So you can catch a punch or catch a punch, right? And you can obstruct your opponent's easiest route to attacking you and force them to change positions, which will make it easier for you to anticipate when they attack you. So, if Billy Joe Saunders, when he gets his way to the front foot, is controlling Canelo Alvarez's lead hand with his right hand and not his left hand, that means that when Canelo Alvarez looks to leap in after feinting with the left and takes lead for dominance so that he can throw his right hand this angle, Billy Joe Saunders will be able to cross the line with the hook and just transfer his weight back and hit Canelo, moving his head out of this zone where it was, the zone that Canelo is attacking, and to the back foot, while simultaneously attacking him at the same time. Not only creating safety by controlling the line here, but allowing him to set up an attack as well as he preps himself for this position, this position, this position, this position, this position, this position. Okay? So, those are Canelo Alvarez's main sources of offense, is kind of flashing that lead hand and then penduluming in and throwing a big power shot either to the head if you're on the front foot or to the body if you're on the back foot. So if Billy Joe Saunders is going to beat this, when he's fighting when he's on the front foot, he's going to need to be controlling the line with his right hand. When he's on the back foot, he's going to be controlling it with his left hand. And these are going to be creating the spaces for him to find the offense to meet Canelo on the line with an attack as he's crossing the line as well, which will give him more power. And again, one of the things that Billy Joe Saunders, or one of the things that Canelo is kind of lacking, when he throws these punches, he has no defense after. He doesn't get snap control of the line right after. He doesn't immediately move his head. There's not a lot of defensive responsibility here. So if Billy Joe Saunders, instead of just eating a punch here, he gets off a right hook and then can transfer his weight off the line, or in these other clips here, instead of just transferring his weight or pulling away from this, if he meets Canelo on the front foot with a left hand counter here, into a right hook, because again, Canelo just sits on the line, he'll find safety in that rhythm and that pattern. Again, because Canelo is not really punching in combination here. He's trying his best to throw these big, bomby, winging power punches against his southpaw opponent. Again, Canelo probably doesn't get the greatest southpaw experience with sparring. It's not easy to get great southpaw sparring. So Billy Joe Saunders may have a lot of opportunity there. But one of the things that Billy Joe Saunders really needs to watch out for, and again, remember earlier I was talking about the pendulum step away from the back foot. He really needs to avoid, so as you can see here, Canelo shooting the lead hand, taking that step to the inside, and then only using it to find this right hand to the body, right? I know it's probably to the head here because Danny Jacobs is all the way on the back foot. He's in a really exaggerated position. But again, I want you to pay attention to Canelo Alvarez's guard. He has no defense as he's entering the line. So if instead of going deep into position 2 on the back foot, if Danny Jacobs came forward with the straight left hand, or a left hook, he really wreak havoc on Canelo's head. And then the right hook is going to be open for it again, right? Because again, Canelo doesn't really have his hands up. And we've seen how quick he is at getting to the line after those punches. So a lot of opportunity there. But this is what Billy Joe Saunders really needs to worry about, is trying to circle out this direction as he's going to find himself in a position where Canelo's on the front foot and he's just blasting away with combinations here. And this is the reason why Canelo doesn't really get those punches off, is because he's not the one all the way on his front foot position, right? He's trying to transition his weight in many different places. But usually, Danny Jacobs was circling out to the left, away from Canelo, which doesn't allow him to throw his super quick Wing Chunny left hooks to the body, left uppercuts, right? but because of the fact that Danny Jacobs is usually circling this way. But a lot of punches here as Canelo is able to trap Danny Jacobs here in this motion here, going from the front foot, trying to peel to the back foot here, and trying to pendulum off the line. Again, very, very dangerous to circle out near your opponent's left hand, okay? It's very, very dangerous because they have access to so many quick punches here, right? And now what I want to point out, that's exactly what we're looking to capitalize on when Canelo steps inside of Billy Joe Saunders' guard on the inside of his lead leg, okay? So when he steps to the inside, that's going to give Billy Joe Saunders the opportunity to really let some good power shots go. Again, Canelo's going to be in perfect position, right? Because if Canelo is stepping to the inside, right, of Billy Joe Saunders' lead foot, that's exactly where Billy Joe Saunders is going to be feinting and probing to find himself in, right? That's exactly where Lomachenko spent so much time working to get against Teofimo Lopez, and he couldn't do it. It took him too long to figure out how to get there. Billy Joe Saunders, if he needs to recognize that Canelo is going to be taking the inside when he's on the back foot and then start setting traps. Also another excellent trap for him, right, when Canelo comes in here is going to be the right or the left uppercut, right? So sorry, it should be mirrored, so this should look like my left hand. But the left uppercut will be an excellent, excellent weapon for him if Canelo is looking to step onto the inside here, as he can catch him here and then catch him with the right hook. Anyway, now we're going to take a look at a couple of heavy bag drills and ways to kind of train two of the drills that we were talking about today on the heavy bag. Now, the first step is going to be getting into a rhythm and getting our active guard going. So as you get to the bag, you're going to control the bag, okay? One, it doesn't have to be a hard shot. It's just a light tap. It's a control, okay? You can tap it and punch it and hit it hard if you want, but you don't have to. And then you want to immediately, after you throw your punch, go back to your control. So what I'm doing here, I'm going control, 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 and then this is the control point that Canelo is going to be entering the line, taking the lead foot dominance, right? Because we're in position one. And then we're practicing when that happens, practicing throwing the hook, okay? Transferring our weight from the front foot to the back foot into whatever target that we are controlling, moving our head from side to side, okay? So when we go from here, we control with the left hand, our head is on this side of the target. When we control with the right hand, our head is on that side of the target, okay? Very important because that's going to set up our ability to transfer our weight and practice our hook with that rhythm, with that timing, and getting our head to the correct space so we don't fall off beat, okay? And again, I'll just play the drill here. It starts off with control, 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 into the hook, back to control, into the hook. And again, bring your head from one side of the target to the other with that, with that, with that, and with that, okay? Doesn't have to be super exaggerated, but this drill is incorporating our active guard, and it's going to be more boxing based, so we're not going to be always finishing our positions, as that's not going to be as important as staying on rhythm and staying on beat. Now again, as soon as you throw that punch, right back to your rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're just going to keep a rhythm like that, and that's going to help you learn to transition your way across the line, change positions, and have a fluid flow kind of rate, okay? Now that's going to be for when Canelo attacks him from the front foot, right? Obviously, if you have a real opponent, you'll have real targets, you'll have real reference points, so the drill's going to look a lot different than it does on a heavy bag with just 1 point or whatever you're training around. But practice the drill, crossing the line, transitioning your weight, changing positions. And then the second one is going to be very similar, okay? We're going to be controlling the line, control, doing the same thing. And then instead of on the last one, we're going to throw a hard right hand and then a hard left hook or left hand into right hook or right cross. And then right back to the drill, okay? Now, this is a boxing drill. It's not a striking drill. So a lot of the mechanics and the idea of power and all that stuff. You don't want to be focusing on that. You want to be focusing on your footwork. You want to be focusing on crossing the line, transitioning your weight, and changing positions as the most important ideas, because those are going to be the most important ideas in the ring. Not so much if you feel like you're getting all the power or your technique is perfect. You just want to be focusing on getting your head to the right positions and the right places in relation to your target, because those are going to be creating a lot of safety for you in the ring, as your head goes from the front foot to a back foot position, front foot, back foot, front foot with a hard right, left hand to the back foot with a hard right hook. Again, if you show your opponent this position when you throw a hard right or a hard left hand, if they look to attack that on that next beat, you just moved your head out of that position. So again, these drills are for boxing. So rhythm and timing and body mechanics are more important than how you think you feel or you look, because using those body mechanics and that active guard and that stuff, but using it in the ring against an actual opponent and not just a heavy bag, is going to change the dynamics of the way that you look or you feel, or whatever. So practice those drills. They're really going to help you learn to iron out how you manage your weight from the front foot to the back foot. They're excellent, excellent drills, and more on a little bit of the boxing side. Very, very low level boxing drill here, but very, very, very effective. Don't it's not a low level anyway. You know what I mean? There's a lot of places to grow from this drill. Okay, and there are a lot of ways to. Anyway, you guys get it. So anyway, this is the second video in the series, and again, not abandoning the line when Canelo attacks it is going to be a huge it's going to be a necessity for him. It's going to be very important. It's going to be a very huge key to victory. That's what I was looking for. It's going to be a massive key to victory for him, is finding a way to counter Canelo as Canelo enters the line. And understanding that when you're on the front foot, if you're on the front foot, Canelo will take lead foot dominance. If you're on the back foot, he'll look to attack you on the inside. Understanding that if you leave that position when he's on the inside, he'll have the advantage there. So understanding that you have the advantage, right, and you can counter him when he enters the line from that position when you're on the back foot. Again, and we're going to go over practicing your uppercuts. We're going to do an uppercut bag drill, maybe tomorrow, because the fight's almost here, right? So I guess we got to start getting some videos out about the fight. So anyway, good luck, Billy Joe Saunders. I hope you see the video. I hope you think it's interesting. It's an excellent, excellent drill. And again, this is all on the basis of the first video, which should be at the end of the video if you want to check it out. It should be at the end of the video, about establishing an active guard and making sure that you don't get complacent on the line. Again, that's going to be the most dangerous thing for Billy Joe Saunders, is slowing down on the line and not controlling that lead hand. If he stops controlling that lead hand, he's going to allow Canelo to feint him, and he's not going to be able to get away from those big, swinging, looping pendulum right hands that are going to roll into left hooks as well. So anyway, yeah, if you guys are interested in learning how to do any of this stuff that I've demoed here, if you're learning to learn how to shadow box, if you're looking to learn how to do any of that stuff, or if you're looking to learn to chain your weight transitions together, the Russians call it pendulum boxing, check out my Boxing as a Dance craft series. It's a drill that I created to teach pendulum boxing and the skill of chaining your weight transitions together in clear, concise, fundamentally boxing sound ways that'll teach you. Not only will they teach you proper body mechanics, you'll learn proper body mechanics doing the drills, but fundamentally as you work through the drills, they will help you learn your places on the line. It's a really, really incredible drill series, so I highly recommend it to you guys. Yeah, if you're looking to shadow box, check out the shadow boxing. Or if you're looking to learn body mechanics and learn the mechanics of a punch and how to train your punches through shadow boxing to develop speed and power with proper body mechanics, proper body positioning, so that you can learn and train in a very concise, a clear and concise drill set and patterns to help you along your journey to going from a very linear, stable position to, Aaron Pryor, Roberto Duran, Mike Tyson style, very dynamic shadow boxing. So check those series out, and leave a comment if you happen to purchase it. Leave a comment. Super honest. No, don't hold any punches back. You can say whatever you want if you buy it, if you're a purchaser, and I will never delete your comment. So go ahead and say whatever you want, and let me know what you think. I've had really great reviews so far. So, thanks, guys.